Nick Fortes walks it off for the Marlins and they get that final game against the Mets. We're going to recap all of the Mets series and a look ahead to a must-win series. I've been saying that for about 3 months. Must-win series in St. Louis. Going to be a real tough one. Shaun Barrett joins me on today's Locked On Marlins.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Marlins, your daily Marlins podcast with me, British host, Peter Pratt. Don't forget to follow me, guys, on Twitter at Miami Marlins _UK. Don't forget the underscore. No TikToks, no Instas. Twitter only. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Welcome. Welcome if you're watching. Shaun's looking good. Teaser already. Shaun Barrett is in the house. He is getting around. You may have seen him on Fish Stripes Live on Friday, but Shaun Barrett, of course, UK GOAT, is back joining me on a Monday. Shaun, how are we doing, brother?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of gallivanting, but it's always good to come back to sort of more familiar zones and be talking baseball with you, mate.
Absolutely. And fun weekend. Fun series. You know, we're going to get into this Mets series, but it was a fun one. The Marlins lost the series 2-1. I have to be honest, I was fearing the worst at the start of Sunday. It was the earliest start time possible as well. It was almost too early for the UK fans. But the Marlins, they walk it off in extravagant fashion with Nick Fortes dropping a bomb. We want to dig into him, the whole of the series shortly. But reminder, guys, today's episode, it's brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline, as you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. More about those guys later on. Shaun, there's a lot to get into. Let's start, though, with Nicky Fortes. We spoke about him, I believe, last week. I was asking you the question about playing time. Where's this all trending? Because the bat looks nice. We can't get away from the fact Stallings, he's catching Sandy, he's catching Pablo. That's guaranteed. Though when those two guys are on the bump, Stallings is behind the dish. However, hitting-wise, the production has just been absolutely turgid from Stallings, apart from the first game, effectively. So, you know, how much does it bring to this Marlins team now, this roster, just having Nick Fortes, which to me looks a legitimate threat with a stick in his hand? I mean, it's been great to see. Massive moment for him yesterday, obviously, to walk it off in the 9th with a bomb, which was great. But where's your head at with this catching situation? No, I'll let you answer it and then I'll give my thoughts.
So, yeah, we spoke about it last week, and I think I chastised you a little bit talking about, sample sizes. And we are still talking about a very small sample size. But it is great to see him continue to perform. And that walk-off, I mean, it was so needed, wasn't it, to finish the series with a win and not get swept. Another Marlins close game and, finally get, eking out that one-run win that so battered us this year. I think realistically, Fortes is going to continue to see less of the playing time over Stallings, but it's, as we go on, as we see more and more offensive prowess from him, if we do, and I'm not rooting against him. I want to see that. Obviously, I'd like to see Stallings hitting as well. But the longer this goes on, the more he beats down that door of getting more playing time. There's only so long that the Marlins are going to be able to give Stallings the bulk of the playing time. So it's interesting to see, but he needs to keep going.
The bat's been good. We've seen the bat. We saw it last year. He turned up and we could see the stick working. However, defensively, there were some woes last year behind the dish. And for me, that has been the difference for Nick Fortes this year. When we look at it, last year, the bat came alive, 3 homers in 5 games or something? And we were like, whoa, Nicky Fortes, he can't hit in AA, but he can blast it at the majors. But there were some pass balls, there were some errors. It wasn't good defensively. For me, I watched that game. It was the second but last Dan Castano start against the Phillies when the Marlins ended up being walked off. However, that game behind the dish, Fortes was sensational. The way he was blocking balls, nothing was getting past him. I was like, whoa, okay. We now have we've seen a defensive uplift now. So you can trust him behind there. That's what I'm seeing. Plus the stick is playing up. I mean, like you said, Stallings probably will continue to get most of the playing time because Stallings is also catching Trevor too. So you've got the big three getting Stallings, and then you've got Castano and Braxton Garrett right now. The Fortes is catching. He knows them guys too. So there's like I guess a AAA connection, which makes sense. But, you know, the Marlins have struggled defensively at times. And when you're playing a lot of close games, having a bit of offensive pop, I mean, there may be more situations that we go to, Shaun, where later in the game, you're actually swapping out Stallings for Fortes' bat, you know, in the 7th or 8th. You may start to see a little bit of that going on. I'm really intrigued to see how it goes. But I actually think the Marlins catching situation is really nice now. You've got a real nice blend of two decent defensive guys. Stallings is more than decent, but Fortes' stick looks lively. The Marlins have somehow found themselves from the worst catching situation in 2021 to, I think, one of the best in some ways. So, I mean, well done, the Marlins. Was it luck or judgment, do you think, with this one?
It's always hard to tell, isn't it? I think judgment in the sense of Stallings, because, you know, they went out and they got their guy. You know, the defense we knew was there. It wasn't a case of they were hoping on it. That's been proven. That's been locked in for years. And so I think that was definitely judgment. And Fortes, you know, backup. He's always going to be a backup catcher because that defense is pretty much, you know, bang on average. But, you know, you always hope for a bit of offense from the catcher, and if they've seen that, then great. If they've not, and, you know, sometimes it is just like, you know, you pull a bunny out of the hat and hope for the best when it comes to backup catchers.
You do. If it continues, happy days. It's one of those, I've talked about it all year long. They need to ride the hot hands. Like, okay, if Fortes fully cools off later on, no drama. But he's been scorching. I just want to see more playing time for Nick Fortes. If it's two starts, you know, out of 5 every 5th day, maybe a few pinch hit appearances, it ends up being about 50-50 with the actual plate appearances with Stallings, I'm all good for that. No problem with that at all. So I think it's been a real nice feature for the Fish. What else is a nice feature, Shaun? We have to talk about it. Dan Castano. I mean, this was not a Sunday lineup for the Mets by any stretch. I'm going to ask you about the Marlins lineup as well later on, but let's start with this Dan Castano start. He went out there against a full-strength, NL best roster, team, lineup, however you want to phrase it, and he shut them down effectively for 7 innings. A little bit of a ropey start, but really settled in. Just how big has this been, this jump from Dan Castano? It's been absolutely sensational.
Oh, it's been huge, and I think one of the main things you mentioned there was 7 innings. I mean, Castano going 7 against a lineup like the Mets have. You know, you're talking about going through the lineup multiple times, and to be able to deliver on that. And I think one of the things that's really interesting to me is that slider. That slider that he's got is fantastic. It's absolutely filthy, and, you know, guys just can't get their bat on it, and they're swinging straight through it. And, you know, that sometimes you look at a pitcher like him and you're thinking, is it just, you know, a small sample size and he's going to fall away with more exposure? But with a pitch as good as that, I have some faith that he can be maybe not as good as he's been so far, but be a major league starter and keep us in games, get us wins. And that's really, when you're talking about having such a heavy front-ended rotation as the Marlins have, having guys like him in the 4th and the 5th spot, you know, fantastic.
No doubt about it. And we gotta tip our caps. There's no cupcakes he's facing here. He shut down the Phillies that have been scorching all June. I know they may tail off a little bit now with the injury news of Bryce, which is, you know, a big blow for those boys, obviously. But he shut those boys down when he went into the 7th in that game, if I recall. Then he goes 7 full innings against the Mets. Again, another powerhouse of a lineup. So Dan Castano is delivering. I've got Zach Thompson vibes. That's what I've got going on right now. Not to kind of put a downer on it, because Zach Thompson was obviously traded away, but I'm getting similar vibes in that this is a guy that may well be used as part of a deal. And listen, there's other teams out there that would see huge value in a Dan Castano, still on league minimum, showing he can do it. If the Marlins are trying to add some pieces, they're going to have to trade something away if they want to go out and acquire. Depth pitching, Dan Castano, maybe. I don't want to try. I'm not saying I want to trade the guy. It's not what I'm saying. But I can see it working in a similar way, like Zach Thompson, who flashed last year, pitched well. Dan Castano is maybe that guy. And if they're looking to go out there and make some moves in the offseason or even at the deadline, we'll wait and see on that. But again, not trying to trade him away. There's nothing. I mean, how much chaos was there early in the year? Every fifth day, Eliezer was out there meatball serving. And, we were all losing our minds. If you have Dan Castano in there that just gives you 5 or 6 of two and run ball, you take that all the time. So I think the Marlins are looking well positioned there. And Braxton Garrett as well, Shaun, is equally, he's equally holding his own this year. It's a much improved Braxton Garrett, in my opinion, this year. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I remember talking to you about sort of in spring training, talking about the idea that we're not going to be relying on these guys to be pitching every 5 days, and lo and behold, here we are expecting them to be doing that. And it's not where you really want to be, when you're talking about it being a strength for the team, having this rotation. But at the moment, yeah, you're right. These guys, they're coming up and they're doing a job, and they're keeping us just in it still, I would say. I still quite haven't ruled out the idea that this team can be competitive.
No.
I think all the pieces are there. They've just got to try and get it together, get the team healthy. But we are still at that point where we are talking about must-win series.
I know.
And after this with the Cardinals, we've got 4 games against the Nationals. Now, it is a case of, is it too early to be saying must sweep 4-game series?
I've said we must sweep the Nationals since the first series back in April, I think it was. I mean, we do, and we have played the Nationals well, for sure. But this is a massive week when you look at where the Marlins are at right now. 6 games back of the 3rd wildcard spot. Going head to head, obviously, on the road with one of the main contenders for that wildcard spot. I know that the Cardinals will be thinking of the division, obviously, but, you could flip-flop the Cardinals and Brewers out of that, 1-2 spot. Nevertheless, one of them is going to be in the mix. Coupled with that, you've got the Giants, the Phillies, and maybe the Marlins. They're still in striking distance. We can't rule it out. If we get healthy and fit and get rolling, then, who knows? But I want to talk to you, though, about this Sunday lineup that was dropped, because I thought that was very intriguing. And also, there was some interesting comments made on the Mets broadcast that I thought, was very topical as well, clearly as well. So we're going to get into that shortly. But before we do that, get into some US ads with a British twist. And for segment 1, there are 2 ads. They've loaded up on ads early doors, and it's 2 of my favorites as well. So this episode, it's brought to you by our guys over at Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens and AG1. I've been telling you about these now for months. For months. I've been taking AG1 every day since they sent me it months ago as well. It's 1 delicious scoop of AG1, and you get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports, here you go, listed out, gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All of the things. All of the things. So, very, very simple. All you have to do, scoop in the water, shake, drink. That's it. And you're out of there. So it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. No. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens, they're going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs for your first purchase. All you got to do, guys, is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/MLB Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And guys, this is also brought to you by Blue Nile and BlueNile.com. You can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams to gifting a classic and timeless jewelry piece, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. So, whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. BlueNile.com. So, I've told you about this before. Bespoke, one-of-a-kind engagement rings. Blue Nile, they got a simple online tool that lets you go and choose the diamond shape, go big, size, big, clarity as well as setting style. Blue Nile's jewelers then handcraft perfect engagement ring, all for her to your design. One of a kind, bespoke jewelry, absolutely stunning. So make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Locked On listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. Trust me, with engagement rings, it's going to be more than $500. This podcast exclusive includes engagement. Use Locked On. That is Locked On. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free. Find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. Whew. Shaun, that was a marathon. That was an absolute marathon there, but gotta love our guys at Athletic Greens and BlueNile.com. Okay, right. So, talk to me. You see the lineup come out on Sunday. It is a midday start. Midday start in the US, 5 p.m. our time. The lineup comes up, let's say 3 p.m. Give me a reaction when you saw that lineup on a Sunday, looking to avoid a sweep to the division-leading Mets.
It's a real Sunday lineup, isn't it? You're looking at a lineup where you've got, maybe 4 of your opening day starters in the lineup. With Castano, again, not a guy that we were expecting to get starts, especially so late into June. Trying to avoid the sweep, you almost resigned to going, well, there we go. Yeah. This is going to be a loss. But, baseball is weird. Mm-hmm. And you just can't predict it. And every day you're going to see something completely different. And at the end of the day, these guys are out there trying to do a job. And we squeaked out the win, and that's all that matters in the end.
I mean, was Donnie... was he lucky? Were the Marlins lucky? Because, listen, you put those lineups out on a Sunday at home with the second biggest crowd of the year, actually. Most of them, by all accounts, there was a lot of Mets in the stadium, by all accounts, but the ballpark went mad when Fortes hit that bomb, so disagree on that. But listen, you put that lineup out and things go wrong, that is not a good look. It's not. The optics would be shocking if that were to be the case. I know it's only one game and whatever, and you can paint it that way. But in my opinion, if that ends up going sideways quick, Dan Castano's chased out there and the Marlins get tonked 15-0, for me, that is poor optics. However, they end up winning the game. This is the stupid thing about baseball. It's just so fun. Maybe this is a season-changing win. I don't know, the way Nicky Fortes walks it off. I don't want to bring it down onto this at all, but listen, I looked at that lineup, I thought, they don't look serious here. No Jazz, and listen, we know why Jazz isn't there. He tweaked his back. He fought through it for, Bahamian Heritage Day. He probably shouldn't have played that day, but he had to. Fought his way through it. So Jazz sits. However, you're then 2, not just 1, but 2 of your big free agent acquisitions also sit on the same day. Like, I don't know where the thinking is at there. Was it just a toss-away, throwaway game for Donnie there? They just thought, listen, let's go full rest. We don't care. We need to win this Cardinals series. Was that in their minds?
I mean, potentially. I think there were the reasons. Jazz, I think, should have been benched. Not benched, but, should have been given the day off. Yeah. So on Friday, tweaked his back, had to leave the game, then played all 9 innings the next day. Yeah. I don't know what happened there because he hurt it in a swing and they let him carry on. There was Donnie didn't go out. The athletic trainer didn't go out. Someone should have gone and had a word with him.
That's the second time that's happened with Jazz this year, where they've just been left out there.
Yeah. Jazz being Jazz would have said, I'm fine, leave me to it, let me play. And fair enough, fine. Mm-hmm. But at least go and check on him. Mm. He is the face of the franchise. He is the de facto all-star for the team. Mm. And he is so important to their ability to win, not just now, but in the future. You don't want to be playing around with his health.
No. I'm with you. And Jazz he shouldn't have played the Saturday, but he had to because it was his day. It was his bobblehead day, and it was Bahamian Heritage Night, and all his family was there, all his friends, and Jazz would have said, absolutely, I'm not missing this game, I can play. So I've got no problem with Jazz missing the Sunday. But to then sit Avi and Soler. And it was a real mishmash. And I don't know, maybe those guys were dinged up, maybe, but with Jazz already out, it's one of those days where you just got to kind of lean on your vets, your free agent vets, to get it done. You look at the Mets lineup the Sunday, and we beat them, but they didn't rest anyone. No resting for the Mets. They were all in. The Mets are looking to try and win properly. Like, they are punting for this division. They want to win heavily. I found that a real head scratching lineup. I truly did. It felt like September 2018 at one point, because there was Astudillo's DFA'd, and you're thinking, okay, what's happening? Who's coming up? It's Eric Gonzalez to replace him, and Eric Gonzalez has been fine in AAA, but it was that's probably the end for Astudillo with the Marlins this year. I don't know how it play out, but a fun time. We'll talk briefly touch on Astudillo. A fun character, but I have to say he did have a big moment in this series too. Big one on Friday where he went to try and tag Nimmo. I don't quite know what went through his head. He decided to mid-tag take the ball out of the glove. I guess he felt like he couldn't stretch that far down with the ball. I don't know what he was thinking. Then he zinged it to Aguilar too late. So in the end, the Marlins think they've got a double play and end up with no outs and the bases juiced. Which in some ways kind of sums up Astudillo. Fun guy, shouldn't be playing second base really for the Marlins, but he's there. He's willing. He's playing with a smile. He came out and faced the media straight after two, and I respect him for that. I respected Salsa when he did the same, when he got blew up in that game. There's been other guys I have not heard from at all this year from, post game. So anyway, Astudillo DFA'd, probably the right call. However, talk to me about that play as well.
Yeah, it was some Marlins baseball of old. That was, I mean, he was trying to do too much, and he's been forced into a position that he wasn't expecting to play really, and really shouldn't be expected to play. And trying to do too much, trying to get the double play, but the most important thing on the double play is getting that first out.
Get the lead runner every time.
Get the lead runner, get the guaranteed out, and then if you don't get the guy out at first, fine. But, try to get both outs, and in the end, real strange situation. I just said earlier about every day you see something different in baseball, and that really was one of those things. And, to be fair to him, like you said, he is a gamer, isn't he? He goes out there and he gives 110%. And, his bat was okay, wasn't sort of sub 200. He was out there, putting up representative at-bats. And is it the end of him with Marlins? Yeah, probably. But, at the moment, it's not exactly anybody knocking down the door in those sort of middle infield sort of positions. Now we've got Wendell and Burt and BA coming back, or they are back, and that's going to be a big difference. But I think he still sticks around and gives us that depth. But if he does come back up and we need that depth from him, we're probably at that point where we're saying the season's done.
About to say it's interesting timing now for him. Let's assume we shouldn't assume anything to do with the infield health this year because it's been a bit of a struggle. But let's assume they go for a couple of weeks now with no incidents, no issues. If there is a problem as we approach the back end of July or into August, the gut feel is it probably, depending on where they're at, but they should probably take a look at other dudes, maybe future opportunity guys that they're thinking about. You kind of skip past the depth then, the guys, that have been around in the league and played, and you're not worried about losing them to waivers and any of this kind of stuff you get going. I think you just at that point go, listen, we're going to go in a different direction. So interesting couple of months with the Marlins, no doubt. He's a fun character, and I enjoyed watching him at times. And like you said, with a stick in his hand, he's fine, actually. He probably hits 270 or whatever, did he? I don't know. I didn't see the final numbers, but 270, played all the position. I think he's played at third, and Miggy was blowing him up the other week at third because he wasn't reading his defensive position card correctly. That second base play, which is a big play in the game, actually. I mean, this kind of sums it up. The Mets somehow beat Sandy Alcantara with a full lineup, and then on the Sunday get chinned by a AAA lineup, including Dan Castano going on the mound. Like it's funny old game baseball, no doubt. But the corresponding piece though here, Shaun, the reason why they've moved on, BA back today and back in the lineup too. So BA straight back in. We're also expecting Wendell to be really close behind. Wendell hit a home run yesterday at AAA, so he must be near, if not, with the team now as well. So big for the Marlins to get BA back. Obviously, his versatility is great. Obviously, plays a good above average third base, and also he's played both corner outfield spots as well this year. So that's interesting. Luke Williams optioned. He had the option, so no DFA required for Williams. He's back down to AAA. So how big is it though for BA to get back? And is he going to give him this kind of extra bump offensively, perhaps?
It is. I mean, it's huge, and I hope so. I mean, it feels like forever since BA's been in the lineup.
I didn't think he'd be back, Shaun, to be honest with you. I thought this was season over. The spine specialist report, I was thinking, that sounds to me like BA's gone again. Sorry to interject, but I was worried. I thought that was him done.
I just hope he is back, and he is 100%. You don't want anything sort of niggling in that sort of area. So hopefully he's fully recovered and ready to go, and we can see him for the rest of the season, because he was playing well, and the depth has really been challenged this year for the Marlins, and as it does every year, and I'm sure there are people talking about every team in the league that way. It is just the nature of the beast. You play so many games. It's a tough sport, and injuries happened. So to get them back and to get to a nigh-on fully healthy offense, it's something that hopefully will help us push on. The month of June's been pretty good, winning record so far, but there's still a long way to go thanks to the poor May that we had.
It really is. I mean, that it's such a shame the way they played in May, and just really has just such it's just fully hindered this full season. Give them a little bit, I don't want to say too much to do, because getting that sweep against the Rockies really kind of brought me back in. The Mets are a good team as well, right? So we shouldn't, we've got to call out the Mets. They're playing well. They're looking strong, and they're doing that without their two aces. Like, we have to call out. Imagine if the Marlins didn't have Sandy and Pablo all year. Like, God knows where we'd be. So the Mets, they are, if not they are one of the best NL teams. The Cardinals, however, they always play the Marlins tough. They are just a fundamentally sound, solid defensive unit. Pitch okay, pitch well. No superstars, I wouldn't say, on the pitching side, but just they don't beat themselves, really, and they always play the Marlins tough. This series, for me, is a real measuring stick for the fish, I think, right now. Are they truly in the wild card hunt? I know we've matched up well against the Phillies this year, but we always match up well against the Phillies because they're so deficient in many areas. You can beat the Phillies. Anyone could beat the Phillies at any moment because of their deficiencies. But we haven't beaten the Giants. We haven't beaten the Cardinals. And there's someone else in the hunt as well with us that I've forgotten who it is. But nevertheless, we need to really put a statement in against these Cardinals, because if we don't, we're 6 games back right now. 6 becomes 8, heading into July. That's a long way back. 6 games is a long way back, to be fair. But, 8 games back of a wild card spot. And okay, the Bryce injury maybe takes a bit of the wind out of the Philly sails. But it's going to be a long way back there. So big series here for the Fish. Pablo Lopez going tonight, and it's a late one too for us. So Pablo going tonight. We've also got Sandy going as well. So the pitching matches up well. Pablo and Sandy really need to do some serious business, but it's more the offense, really. The offense just needs to score some runs. I know Pablo and Sandy will do their thing, but how are you seeing this right now with this Cardinal series?
No, it's. I mean, we keep saying they're big series, but and that's because they are. Yeah. And as you said, with Pablo tonight and Sandy on Wednesday, the pitching's matched up. This is where the offense is coming back. This is as close to as 100% going into a series as you can expect in the sort of June, July sort of time. And I think, yeah, you're right. The Cardinals, they always play us hard, and I don't know why, and I've said this before, but I have an irrational hatred for the Cardinals. Don't know where it comes from, and I don't know why it is. Just every time we play them, I just hope we wallop them. And the last time I remember any success for an extended period of time against the Cardinals was Jordan Yamamoto. So that tells you how long ago that was.
Oh boy.
So, I'm really looking forward to this series. And as you said, it's a real late one. It's one of the latest non-West Coast starts I can recall ever.
Yeah.
But
3 games the same too, right? There's no UK friendly on the back end, no getaway day
not.
time. No.
So it could be a rough week for my sleeping patterns.
Yeah, the boys are going to be tested, I think, with our sleeping pattern. We've got another ad to roll, and then we've got a couple final topics, and then we'll get out of here for today. So, guys, final ad of the day, US ad with a British twist, and already teased them out earlier. It's our friends over at BetOnline. At betonline.net, it's your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find out all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball, of course. And it's your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And it's the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. Big call with the pods. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Shaun, I really want to ask you, though, about the Mets broadcast crew and their discussion on air, and it was deliberately on air, and I say discussion, it was more of an observation is how I would describe it, where basically they called out the fact that no one runs hard to first base ever was what he was saying. It was off the back of a Soler. I mean, it was a single into the gap. Like, some people saying, well, it's only a single. Why would he? But actually, when you actually look at where he hits it, he should be gassing it down there. Like, he should be putting pressure on Brandon Nimmo in center field to, if Nimmo fumbles it, misplays it, Soler should be. I don't want to pick on Soler. The observation being made was that predominantly that's what the Marlins are doing. They're not running hard. It's just a basic ask. We'll go back to this Miggy Rowe players meeting. It was Don Mattingly that called it. Miggy Rowe spoke a lot and talked about the fundamentals. But what was your whole take on this? This kind of observation. They threw some slander, I think, towards Jazz as well in there, or saying that the Marlins clubhouse doesn't like Jazz and whatever, which I'm not convinced is completely true. But I do think this effort and basics and fundamentals are a little bit lacking on this Marlins roster.
Well, just to start with, firstly, I'm not too bothered by whatever anybody in the New York Mets broadcast room has got to say about pretty much anything. But when we're talking about sprinting to first base, yeah, I mean, it's the most basic of expectations as far as why not? There is no excuse.
Yeah.
On that particular play, I think they were just trying to find something to bully him as the Marlins with, because it was a single all day. It was a relatively softly hit ball up the middle, one bounce into the centre fielder's glove with the right fielder backing up. There aren't many people in baseball that are going to round first with any realistic expectation of both players misplaying the ball. So I don't think that Soler really needed to be gassing it down for any other reason than the optics of it being, looking like you're not hot dogging it. But I don't think there was any situation where he's hurt the Marlins in as far as an offensive opportunity, because there simply wasn't one. It was a single to every major league player, out there basically.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, because, like I said, I don't think it was specifically targeted at Soler. The sense I had is maybe they'd just been watching it and just felt like that was the right time to make the comment. Because it goes back to this players' meeting where it wasn't just pointed at the young guys, it was pointed at the vets too, like the basics. We're looking for world-class basics. Start there, and the rest will come. The problem is, if you can't even get the basics right, then they're the little moments. They're the little things. And running it out to first base at a decent pace to give you an opportunity, if something did go wrong, for whatever reason, is the most basic of asks. However, on the flip side, I get the sense that Soler hasn't been fully healthy. I get the sense that Avi Garcia hasn't been fully healthy. I get the sense that no one's fully healthy when they play baseball every day. Like, it's just one of them things. And I do sense that there's an element of like protecting themselves in that, where, like you said, with that play, it's a single all day long in all reality. And you just think, what you don't want to do is to bust it, try to turn, where there isn't an opportunity. Next thing is you roll your ankle, you pull your hammy, and you're like, oh boy, season done. So it's an interesting one. This players meeting thing continues to kind of, it's one of the key storylines for the Marlins year. Like, it really is. And it will continue to be. Something in the clubhouse has not been good. It hasn't been. That's why they had to have the meeting. We're not quite clear on the specifics, but nevertheless, I thought it was really intriguing that the Mets called that out. Let's move on before I get in any trouble. Anyone else blocks me. Shaun, I want to finish on the closing situation. We're going to close this episode with a closing situation. Tanner Scott is locked into the 9th now. So, and I've got to be honest with you, I trust him. I trust Tanner Scott in the main now. I know he got blown up against the Phils with that walk-off middle, but I trust Tanner Scott. How are you feeling about him?
I think I'm there too. So, if you look at the numbers across, since he got his second save, and then that was where we sort of decided that he's got the job now, let him run with it. His strikeout rate is immense. When we knew that in spring that was going to come with him, and the walk rate was going to be what it was. So yes, over that period of time, a 16K per 9 and a 4 walk per 9, he's come in as advertised. Now, a 4K to walk rate, that is elite. Absolutely elite. Would I prefer it to be 12Ks and 3 walks? Obviously, but that's just me being nitpicking at the moment. As it stands, the numbers that he's putting out there while he's been in the quote-unquote closer role so far have been absolutely what you'd like to see. Now, it needs to continue, and, hopefully it does. But at the moment, yeah, I'm in that position where I do trust him. I expect when he comes in, I'm not having, I'm not expecting him to blow it. And It's been quite rare since, a couple of seasons ago that we've had that lockdown guy that we can trust. And, if we finally piece together a closer, that'd be fantastic.
I mean, all of a sudden, you've pieced together a closer. You found a legitimate offensive threat behind the dish that can defend. All of a sudden, things are coming together. I trust Tanner Scott now. I feel fine about it. I trust Anthony Bass in the 7th. Bass, man, stunning in the 7th inning. He's been stunning all year there. I also trust Stephen O'Kurt in the main. And also what I did like seeing, there's 2 guys that were in interesting weekends in positive ways. Dylan Floro's back. I'm going to call that out. He's been working his way back. He maybe come back too soon. Maybe the Marlins felt they really needed him. I think that's probably at the heart of it, where they were like, Dylan, we need you back because we're struggling here in this 9th. He's maybe come back too soon, and the velo was down. It didn't look like Floro, but this weekend, he cranked up the dial. The gas is back for Floro. So all of a sudden, you've now maybe got a really dependable 8th inning dude that can slot in there. So I think that'd be nice too as well. Shaun, what's your take on Floro, by the way, just before I finish up on the other final one?
Yeah, so we spoke about him, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but I was worried because that velocity was down, and it did seem like maybe he hadn't had that time and that opportunity to get back. And it's always hard to do that when you're playing game after game, with all the travel and everything, to get that kind of arm strength back up. But if he's back to where he was, previously with his velocity, then yeah, you can start to trust him a little bit more, and I think the numbers will slowly start to turn around as well.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely like what I saw this weekend with Dylan Floro. I also liked what I saw in terms of the stuff and the movement from Yacobonis. I mean, he was a Twitter darling for a day. He was, the UFO with the frisbee emojis. It was there. Had a stunning outing on Friday. K's galore. He was given then off the back of that a really high leverage spot on the Saturday game. Came in the 8th inning, tied game. Pete Alonso got him. after striking out Pete Alonso the day before. He actually then kind of settled back in and got the other 3 outs after that. So Yacobonis all of a sudden emerges out of nowhere. The Marlins, how do they keep doing this where they find these high movement arms that end up being elite?
I have no idea. So after we had the fantastic story of Bender in previous seasons, and now Yacobonis, and that stuff is just unreal. I mean, how he makes that ball move like that, you're almost questioning, the legality of that movement and how he does it. I hope he's doing it, truthfully, but the ball moves so much that he's got me questioning it.
Yeah, for sure. But everyone's getting the hands touched anyway at the end of an inning. So, it's impressive stuff though. But Shaun, when I sit here right now, we're approaching the end of June with 6 games back. I feel like the bullpen is coming together finally. We're 3 months in, but it's coming together. The catching situation is coming together. The infield depth is coming back together. Wendell's due back as well, as is BA. John Birdie is having an all-star period right now. Like, I know he's not going to be voted into the all-star game, but John Birdie's absolutely emerged. Jesus Sanchez is back. He's still doing his thing, hitting bombs. Jazz Chisholm's going to be voted in as the second baseman into the NL all-star game as well. Soler's had a nice June for him. Avi Garcia has had a nice June. Like, I feel like things are coming together here. I mean, was missing a few starters, but Dan Castano was holding down the fort. 6 games back, but I feel like there's some optimism brewing around the Marlins. Like the May just sucked the life out of everyone. But I feel like it's coming back around. Where are you? 0 to 10, 10 being extremely optimistic and 1 being extremely pessimistic. Where are you on the optimism scale right now?
So I'll put it at an 8 for one reason and one reason only. They're still, within touch, and that's all I asked for in pre-season. As we get to June, get to July. Now, a couple of 4 games under 500. I think that's right. I hope it's right. I'd prefer them to be. Yeah, I'd prefer them to be at 500 or slightly above 500. In the next couple of weeks, and that's with a 4-game series against the Nationals, that's achievable. But so I think we're still it's 5. Okay,
33 and 38 is the record.
Okay, so 5 games under 500. It's not where you want to be, obviously, but a couple of series wins, get back to 500 as we go into July. All bets are off then.
Positive run differential, by the way, so let's not forget that one.
as it has been pretty much all season.
All season, of course. I mean, this is it. I saw an interesting, I don't want to go off on another topic because we're already 45 minutes in, but I saw an interesting tweet earlier from one of the GOATs, of course, Aram Layden, GOAT of this show for sure, saying about how would have been interesting if the Marlins would use Max Meyer in a kind of Michael Kopech 2021 role, effectively out the pen, fireman, multi-innings, just kind of do it all type of role. Just one of them, good arm, in the pen, out the rotation, however you want to phrase it. You just got one of your better arms in the mix, learning in the major leagues rather than just down there in AAA, kind of overpowering everyone. I thought it was an interesting observation. I think we talked about it as well preseason, whether that could have been an option. We were even thinking, is Max Meyer, could he be the closer this year? Could they just bring him up? But it hasn't worked out. I thought it was a really interesting point that Aaron made, or observation, the fact that that's how the White Sox played it with Kopech to kind of get him into the mix. And the Marlins probably could have used him. I guess at the point there, Cody Poteet, let's not forget about him. Cody Poteet was locking it in the kind of long man role, which seemed to work well. And obviously Eliezer was struggling too, so it felt right to kind of keep Max there available as a starter. But nevertheless, 5 games back, 6 games back in the wild card. The Marlins just need to play well in St. Louis. There's just no way of getting around it. They have to play well. Pablo's going. Sandy's going. They have to win the series. They just have to. If they don't, for me, that is a big, big red flag for this season, or even a white flag. We'll wait and see. But Shaun Barrett, Peter Pratt, we're out of here for Monday's episode of Locked On Marlins. Thank you for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. And Now make your second listen Locked On MLB Prospects. If you love your prospects, host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. The same as Locked On Marlins. So, guys, enjoy Game 1. Back tomorrow with one of the GOATs, Alex Contreras. Until then, go fish.